Every single Brawl Ball guide, and I mean every single Brawl Ball guide, focuses on ball control. And that's fine if you're already in Masters. If you haven't noticed, ball control isn't even why you're losing. And unless you're in pro lobbies, it never will be why you're losing. In this Brawl Ball guide, I will detail every part of Brawl Ball, from drafting to maps to scoring to positioning to gameplay and more. After this guide, you'll understand exactly how to play Brawl Ball and win way more. As we get further in the video, the guide will get more and more complex and specific, so stick around because I guarantee every single person watching this will learn something no matter what rank you are. Draft. Draft will be our first section, but by far the shortest. Brawl Ball Draft is essentially the same as any other draft. However, you have to realize what type of draft you have. First is an aggression team composition versus a passive team composition. If you have an aggressive composition, meaning you have an assassin or tank that goes aggro, you want to look for goal scoring opportunities. Either make a breakaway play that turns into a goal, like Bull supering into goal, or sneaking past the enemies if they position badly, so like Mortis taking the ball, dashing, and scoring. If you have a passive composition, meaning you have a team full of non-tank or assassin brawlers, you don't have the same opportunities to score as the aggressive composition would. Your way to score is a bit harder, waiting until one of two things happen. Either you slowly advance forward, pushing back the enemy one at a time and gaining position so you eventually can just score it, or you wait for one of their teammates to slip up, die, and then you can easily kill the other two for a goal. Moving on, we have overtime compositions. These are not mutually exclusive with aggression or passive compositions. It just means that you will do better in overtime than the other team. The reason you'd want to know is so you can set a goal to tie the game until overtime, where your team is more likely to score. An overtime composition has longer range brawlers. An overtime composition does not have tanks, assassins, or throwers. An example of an overtime composition would be Otis, Charlie, Mina. Otis has range, Charlie has range, Mina can easily get range, none of them need walls. A bad example of an overtime composition would be Shade, Juju, and Rosa, because they have no range and really need walls to move around. So, once again, if you have an overtime composition, it may be better to keep a tied game and wait until the walls are gone. If you don't have an overtime composition or have a really bad overtime composition, especially compared to the other team, you want to score as quickly as possible and ensure it does not go to overtime. The last necessary part of draft you have to understand is lanes. I'm sure most of you already know what lanes are, but just to go over them, every single map has lanes that split up where to go. Generally, it's a mid and two side lanes. You want to go longer range brawlers in the mid and two less ranged brawlers on the side. Now that we have drafting basics completed, let's go over the actual real Brawl Stars guide. But wait, before we go any further, could you consider liking, subscribing, and commenting what other guides you want? It takes 5 seconds for you to do, and it took me a long time to complete this guide, so I want it to do well. You don't even have to actually like the video, just like press like. Just for me, be a little kind. Thanks. Now, back to the video. First, let's go over the actual perfect flow of a Brawl Ball match. The flow that pros will use and you should copy. This is how you would play perfectly. It starts off with everyone on your team going the correct lane. If you are Mortis and the enemy team has a Dynamite, do not go attack their Tara. Instead, go to the lane you're best in. Otherwise, you have ruined the entire point of draft. So figure out which brawler you do best in, and if you can't easily figure that out, your draft probably isn't amazing. I see so many people on the wrong lanes, and it's honestly so disappointing. So starting out, Brawl Ball will always be a very slow game mode as long as you play it good. Each team will trade shots with each other slowly. Make sure not to pick up the ball. Not yet. Picking up the ball while both teams are in neutral makes you go out of position, and while holding the ball, you can't shoot, so it's effectively a 2v3. In the neutral position, one of two things will end up happening. Either someone wins their lane. If this happens, that person can push up a lot higher and pinch with their teammates. That's why it's so important to play neutral and safe, because if one person dies, it'll be a lot easier for everyone to die, because it's a 3v2. 2. The second possible thing that can happen is just pushing a lane back. If you just push a lane back, that means you didn't kill them, but they are low and they have to run back to heal, which is better than just going in and dying, because you want to play it safe. So if you push a lane back, you should still play it very safely, but slightly push up to create pressure on the enemy team, because you have the ability to create pressure because the enemy is healing in your lane. At this point in the game, you should be in quite a better position than your opponents. Now you can grab the ball and put it in the perfect offensive position, which we will talk about later in the positioning part. The most important part of this phase of Brawl Ball is to not die. Your enemies can die and be back in the game in 5 seconds, but if you die, you have to walk all the way back to their side, and you've basically just sold the goal. So now you're in a goal scoring position. How do you actually score the goal? There are 3 ways in your current position. Either you can make it a 1v3 and walk it in, wall break to secure a sneaky goal, which I'll talk about later, or trick shot, which I will also talk about later. The safest method is the 1v3 option. However, it can also be quicker to wall break for a goal, as long as it's possible without dying, because once again, dying is the worst possible thing you can do when you have good positioning. So let's say you score, but this time, the enemy team has pushed you all the way back to your goal. You usually just need a single kill to stop their push, as long as they're not already in the goal. Don't be afraid to use your supers or hypers to stop them, because stopping their goal is almost, if not as important as scoring a goal. If everything goes well, you should just repeat this process until you win. If you don't follow exactly what you're supposed to do, as I've mentioned in this guide, it could lead to getting out of position and losing, which happens very easily in Brawl Ball. So now we have the Brawl Ball flow down. Now I'll go over Brawl Ball tips and mistakes, starting with Brawl Ball mistakes. 1. Don't hold the ball. Holding the ball means you can't shoot, obviously, but it also basically rules you out as a teammate. It transforms 3v3s into 2v3s and 3v2s into 2v2s, slowly negating any possible goal opportunities. Instead, slowly pass the ball up, almost like you're dribbling. Dying early. Dying early is probably the worst thing you can do. You need to play it super duper safe. If you die, then your teammates are basically dead as well, just because the enemies can now walk up on you and pinch. Dying in a 3v2. If you're 3 against 2 on offense, it's basically a goal, as long as you don't die. It's a mistake that every player at every level will make, but you have to consciously be aware of it and avoid it. Now for the tips. This is where I think you'll learn the most, because Brawl Ball has a bunch of random things you should know that come up in almost every single match that the game doesn't actually tell you. Starting off, we have clearing the ball. I'll talk more about this soon, but clearing just means you use your super to shoot as far away from your goal as possible as a form of defense. Shooting past someone. This is extremely useful If the difference between dying and scoring is just a split second, you can actually shoot it past someone if the ball itself is inside of their player circle. This means that when you are walking it in, you can actually shoot it about half a second early, which is genuinely a lifesaver. This also means if someone walks up to defend your shot, if you walk into them or they get too close, you can actually shoot it through them, cornering the ball. To corner the ball, you just throw it into your corners, and it makes it a lot harder for your enemies to get to it and then score. I'll talk more about this later too. Scoring lines. In case you didn't know, Brawl Stars actually outlines where you can score with a normal shot and where you can score a super shot in game. Almost every Brawl Ball map has these little lines on the floor. It's mostly useful in overtime, especially because from the max distance, you can't even see the goal and will still be able to score. The triangle trick shot. I like to call it the triangle trick shot, but everyone has a different name for it. It's a trick shot that is literally scoreable on every Brawl Ball map, where you just deflect it off of the wall blocking the goal. This is useful if you have a defender and don't have enough time to walk it in, or know you would have died. Make sure to look out for this yourself while you are defending. I see it work against a lot of lower level players, and it just feels bad every single time I see it. So another scoring tip. Let's say that you're next to the goal and about to walk it in, but then a bull respawns. You will get killed by the bull if you just walk it in. So what do? You should try and bait him into using his super to knock you back and take the ball. However, to his surprise, as soon as he uses his super, you will shoot the ball past him and score. This works for any type of super or gadget where you can't attack while activating the super/gadget. My favorite person to use this on is El Primo because of his gadget. As soon as he throws you up, just shoot the ball past him. This works with Buzz Super, Bull Super, any type of super, dash, or gadget that makes you unable to pick up the ball will have this same effect. Juke shot. To juke shot, you just walk one way and shoot the other. I don't know why, but this genuinely messes with people so much, especially in overtime where you can literally shoot anywhere. I'll walk to the left, super shot it right, and they can't do anything about it because they mimic your movements. For our last one, you can walk along the goal walls to block shots from newly spawned in opponents, because when they respawn, their attack is blocked by the two side walls, but they can still attack the middle. You can probably tank 1 or 2 shots using this method and get a goal. Now I'm going to do a quick section on goal scoring. I've covered normal goal scoring early on this guide, but it's time for a special goal scoring. Generally, these will be more applicable to aggressive compositions. Starting off, we have any sort of dribble. Basically, you wait until your opponents are really pushed up on your side, then you pass it up to yourself, dash, and do it again until you're at the goal. I'm going to put up a quick list of brawlers who can dribble and score an easy goal. Just a reminder, don't dribble at the very start of the game. Don't dribble if the enemies are on defense, because you will most likely just die. You can, however, dribble if just one enemy is on defense, but make sure to pick your fights carefully. Don't do it against a bull, but you sure can do it against a Barley. Okay, next is any sort of knockback or stun or pull or anything that stops them from touching the ball. So many brawlers have it, it's almost useless to make a list. Just think about if the brawler has it or not. This should be a really simple thought. Some good examples are Mo Super, Cord Super, Meeple Gadget, Buster Gadget, etc, etc. Last sort of special goal scoring is wall break. So you can just wall break the goal wall and then shoot it in. If you do it at the right time, the enemies can't do anything about it. Once again, I'm not going to hold your hand and tell you every single wall break in the game, but think critically. Any wall break will work. Just break and then shoot as soon as the wall has been broken. Another cool form of wall break into goal is if you perfectly time it, you can actually score a goal when the map is transitioning to overtime by shooting at the wall as soon as this timer runs down and the walls break as soon as you shoot it, and it's a free goal because the enemies literally can't stop it. Now I'm going to cover trick shots and lanes on every single ranked map. Alright, just to go over it quickly, this map is a little bit weird with lanes. This is going to be our first map. One lane is over here, right? Of course. One lane is over here. And then the middle, if you have a thrower, you want them to be right here in the middle. But if not, you should have them help out on one of these two lanes. Usually the enemy team will also split into like two here, one here. So you want to do something like that too, where you're having two on one side, one on the other. As for trick shots, this is a very obvious trick shot, right here. Very simple to hit, very obvious. I think you can actually hit that in a game. Now, there is a more complex trick shot if we, well, not complex, but harder. If we go right here, and you stand right here, you see how that doesn't work? You have to go closer, right? If you get really close, and right there, like perfectly what the fuck? I said, and perfectly position it, like right here as far as possible. And then, you see how hard this is? Like, you're not, as I said, you see how hard this is? Like, you're not gonna pull this off in a real game, just because of how hard it is, but it is physically possible. Okay, our next map is Sneaky Fields, and of course, this one has very obvious lanes. You have one here and one on the two sides. You normally don't want your tank or assassin going down in middle. You want them to be on one of these side lanes, and you want the person with the most range to go right here. In terms of trick shots, there's not really a real trick shot you could do. Like, this is technically one, but that's just also not exactly that realistic, because you could always just fire it from, like, let me show you. You could just always, like, if you're doing this, you might as well just do this, you know? Like, there's not much of a difference. Okay, moving on. Alright, next we have pinhole putt, and generally, you want one person on left, one person on right, and kind of opposite now. You don't want the person with the most range in the middle, you want your tank or assassin in the middle, and you want to make the enemy seem very scared of what you're gonna do. But then the side lanes are for the people with range. Okay, in terms of trick shots, this one's kind of also really obvious. Boom, you just do that. There's not really any other good trick shots on this map. Alright, now we're on Pinball Dreams, and as of the name, there is a really good trick shot that every single pro will do that I'll show you in a bit. These lanes are really obvious. You want the longest range person here, you want a thrower preferably over here so that you can throw over there, and you want your assassin in here in the bushes. So now for the trick shot. Everyone does this, and it's so easy. It's possibly the easiest trick shot like you could do. You just walk up. You literally just walk up and hit that corner. If people don't suspect it, it's genuinely such a good goal. It'll get them every single time. It's so amazing. And now for one I completely forgot to mention, but you can do on every single map. You just hit the... Alright, now we have center stage. You do not want anyone in mid. No reason to do that. You want one person on left, one person on right, and one person kind of going around. You want the long range people on left and right so they can kind of zone out. And then you should have an assassin or kind of like a tanky teammate that has to stay behind and can't shoot. So now for the trick shot, this one's really obvious. Did I miss it? Oh my god, I missed it. I mean, now for the trick shot, this one's really obvious. You just do that. Alright, that's like kind of the only trick shot you can do on this map, so moving on. Alright, so for our very last one, we have Beach Brawl, and people don't seem to understand how to play this map. Every single time I look at it, I see 3 people in here, and I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we on the bush? So if you do have a thrower, you want them in here. If you have an assassin, I've seen so many assassins and tanks just hide. You want to go up. You want to create pressure on the enemy team, and especially an enemy thrower. I would say probably the best you could do is like right here. And that's pretty good, but it's a bit of an awkward trick shot just because I don't see many scenarios where the enemy team's not going to spot you like aiming your super ball doing that, and it's a lot slower than all of the other trick shots. Ball positioning. Now we're at the part that's so scary that every single pro must know a secret about but isn't telling you. That's actually really easy in almost every scenario. Let's split ball positioning into 2 different universes. one where you are on offense and one where you are on defense. Both of these will come in handy in the aforementioned how to play Brawl Ball part of it, where when you're on offense, you want to use the offense type, and when you're on defense, you need to use these defense positioning. Offensive ball positioning. Let's say you've just killed one of their teammates, and now it's a 2v3 in the neutral position. If the enemy team falls back, grab the ball and quickly pass it up to a place where your team can easily get it, but the enemy team either can't get to it, has to go far out of position to get it, or will be pinched and killed if they go for it. You keep doing this until eventually there's an easy goal scoring opportunity. Don't ever give the enemy the ball in any scenario, because then you've just reset all of the positioning you've just created. Also, never leave the ball behind you, because you could lose a valuable goal scoring opportunity. With that said, when I say pass up, please pass up and don't walk up with the ball, because once again, you're creating a 2v2 scenario for your teammates where you can't shoot. Defensive ball positioning. There are two ways to position the ball defensively, and we've kind of already covered both, only as terms though. But now I'll show you what they actually do. The first way to position the ball defensively is to corner it. This means throwing it into your corner. You should do this if you are up a goal and do not need to ever push up again, as long as they don't score. You can also do this if you're waiting for overtime to kick in and you have a better overtime composition. You can just stall and wait, because as long as you have ball control, you should win overtime. The second way to position the ball defensively is to clear it. If the enemy team is closing in on you, clear it as far as you can. Not towards your goal, not exactly towards their goal, but as far as possible from both any of their teammates and from your goal, so that they both have to walk a long way to get it and have to walk a long way to get it back to the goal. If you're trying to defend and the ball is not either cornered or cleared, most likely you will get scored on. So that was the all scary ball positioning. It's really easy once you actually think about it. So now we're almost done with the entire guide, but I don't want to be one of those people who just says for you what to do and doesn't show you what to do. So I'm going to play a few games of Brawl Ball just to show you what my thought process is throughout the game and what I'm doing using these tips in the video to help win. Alright, so the first match I'm going to show you is this match where I'm playing Otis, right, on center stage, and it's like a pretty easy match, I can't lie. But so me and Lumi have the same idea. We both just push back each other to get pressure. Obviously it doesn't work because we both did it. So now I'm kind of trying to hold my lane, not die. The shade goes up, immediately dies, right? It's fine, he's getting super. But now we're really pushed back. Realistically, they should score a goal here, but I hit an insane clip onto Nita and then hit another one onto Lumi. So they're really pushed back, basically negating a goal. I go for a mute in bush. I hit it. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but I knew where she was, so it was fine to hit it. Now we're kind of really pushing them back. Do you see how pushed back there? That's what I'm talking about when I say like when you push them back. So Lumi goes back to heal. Our Colette, I'm pretty sure she gets an insane gadget soon. I don't know when, but I'm kind of pinching from the left. Like that's what you can do once you have pressure. You can just pinch. And now that it's a 2v3, they all literally just die. And so that's a really free goal. And then as you can see, there's not much left of this, so we must score again. I do the same thing. I push them back. Lumi doesn't have it this time, so now I have control of this lane for a little bit, and that gives me an opportunity to do damage. But at the end of the day, our shade literally just team wipes. So that was amazing. I super passed to him, because if I didn't, he would have died to the Lumi, and he hides behind the walls to protect himself from Lumi. Alright, this next one, I wanted to show you one where I'm on the aggro. So now we are on the shade, and I don't want to go too aggro because dying early is like, again, the worst thing you can do. But I definitely want to create pressure on my lane. So this Ems does something really stupid. She dies early. That leaves a 2v2 where my teammates have position, right? And then I come in and, you know, I'm also obviously a threat. So Lumi wins our 1v1 because you never want to leave a 1v1 at goal. and we get the free goal. Now I have super, so I can go in really easily, win my lane, push M's back, push Finks back, and this just creates a really easy goal. However, what I do that's completely wrong, I trick shot it, right? Worst trick shot I've ever seen, by the way. I still kill Finks, but it was terrible. I think what I should have done is waited behind the walls for all of them to respawn and then supered in. That's what you should have done. So don't ever make a 3v2, a 2v2, and don't ever give them the ball. I did both of those things. Like, that's genuinely terrible. So now I'm kind of behind here. Chester gets a really good bomb. Now I'm kind of concerned, but I do have hyper. So shade hyper should always be a free goal. I managed to clear the ball. Did I clear the ball? Someone cleared the ball, right? So that's pretty good. We're really just keeping them back. Then I shade hyper. I kind of whiff my shade hyper, but it's okay. So I kill one, and as soon as you kill one, I'm saying, like, as soon as you kill a single person that's going on offense, it just fully collapses. So now we're completely fine, and we win the game. Alright, we're going to do one more. This is just the shade game, but the second half of it, I guess. This one lasts a little longer. I don't remember why, but it was definitely more tied up. So immediately this Ems wastes all her ammo, bush checking, and they're all pushed back immediately just by the pressure of me and Lumi. This dude keeps passing me the ball, guys. Okay, wait, let me rewind. Don't do this. Okay, look at the Otis holding the ball, right? He passes it right where I'm going to be. Like, don't pass it to your teammates. Like, that's genuinely terrible, especially if they're on it. And he does it again. Like, what is this? I'm trying to actually attack someone, and he's doing this, like, absolute... Like, it's so stupid. And then I try and hit it, but as you can see, let me rewind there. So I try and get a goal, but if you notice, I was right above the goal line. So if you look at that, as soon as I shot it, I was right above the goal line. Unless you're right in the center, you want to be a little bit past the goal line in order to hit that shot. So I don't think I could have scored that. I would have died, but you know, still. And then I think, let's rewind a little bit here too. I think going in here, our Otis could have scored that if he just walked it in more, because you see he had the health to survive a few techs by the Finks, but you know, he didn't, so that's something. He could have just walked it in, and he didn't need to fully walk it in. He could have passed the Finks like I've talked about. Anyway, so I'm getting a little scared here. It's a 3v2, but I have hyper, right? So normally, don't be afraid to use your hypers on defense. I should be able to kill this Ems, I think. Yeah, so I killed this Ems, and that pretty much, even though I die, that completely negates any goal scoring opportunities they had. So I'm saying, don't be afraid to hypercharge on defense, even though you want to use a goal. Like, I could have gotten a goal with that shade hypercharge, I can't lie, but on defense, it's just as worth it. So now it's a 3v2, we pinch them out. Otis hypercharges, I think really good hyper actually. I go in just to secure the kills, you know, because I don't want to like walk it in and then die or whatever. Instead, I want to make it a 3v2 or a 3v1. So now it's literally just Chester and we kill him. So now it's another 3v1 against this Sphinx. I go back to heal up because, you know, the worst thing you can do is to die. I say it again and again, right? So they all respawn, but it's fine because look at the insane pressure we have compared to them. Finks drops a hyper. Very good play for Finks. To be honest, Chester should have used hyper here. Like, they have, what, 10 seconds? And then he drops it at the last moment, but luckily I have, I think that was hyper. And this was a really good play. Our Otis clears the ball, so the Ems has to run to get it. Just amazing. If he died with the ball, that would have been terrible. Alright guys, that's the end of the guide. I hope you learned something. I hope you like, subscribe, comment something, you know, comment your favorite brawler, I guess. I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Do better in Brawl Ball. I believe in you.